Speaking of reunions, the episode of reunions, I want to talk about one more thing. That being a report that came out, which again, a rumor. I'm saying that it's a rumor because I don't think it's been completely verified, but it is a reporter that has seemed to be accurate with a lot of the Latin American players. We know that a lot of them have had that connection, and that being the overall fit and the overall possibility of Jose Iglesias coming back to the New York Mets. Jose Iglesias, in case you need a refresher, that man was a breath of fresh air. He was called up later in the season when the Mets were completely down in the dumps. The second baseman that they committed all that money to was an absolute bum, still is, and the Mets have had talks with him with a possible reunion. We know that he hired Scott Boras. You may know that name. Now, when you look at what Jose Iglesias did for us, I mean, the guy was a breath of fresh air. Fantastic situationally, with runners in scoring position, slashing 375, 419, 482. He signed a minor league contract, a spring training invite. He was told that he would be the first infielder to be called up if they need him. Great at second base, played a little bit of shortstop, and then also at third base as well. He was really good, which he didn't play as much for his entire career since like 2013, and still put up a 4 defensive runs saved and a 2 outs above average at third base at 130 innings, and then mainly at second base being the quick hands up the middle, 1 defensive run saved and 1 outs above average. Of course, we know the viral Latin pop single, "Oh My God," that turned Citi Field into a complete frenzy, being the amazing presence in the clubhouse, having a career year. He's going to be 35 next year. Fitting into this formula, a possible reunion with Jose Iglesias. Frank, I will go to you. We saw what he did on the stage, whether it was the pop stage, the pop single stage, or the overall playoff race. He really stepped up last year. He was fantastic. For a minor league deal was, I mean, lightning in a bottle.
I mean, I'd love to keep him. I mean, he definitely is a fun player to watch. Obviously, the guys in the locker room love him, and he really, was a big part of why the Mets had this improbable run. And it was, in part because he had an improbable run. I mean, obviously the whole, being out of baseball the year before, and then he comes in and he plays really well. And, when you look at that age and you don't project that the guy was going to hit 340 and everything like that. And I just feel that, I wouldn't predict that he hits 300 next year. I mean, I just really don't know. I mean, even though he played so great. Yeah, I'm just not sure how next year is going to look. We've talked about, you don't really overpay for second baseman. The Mets already do have McNeil here. Last year McNeil had the injury and struggled. Now you have Acuna played well. How does Jet Williams factor into this? And then, like we talked about with the bench, it's like, if you bring in Winker and you already have Marte, then you have Taylor. So I'm just kind of curious, like, how does everything fit? When the Mets got Iglesias this past season, as you have it right here on the screen, he signed a minor league contract. Is that something he'd be willing to do again? Probably not. I mean, maybe he would because it's
under
the Mets,
Scott Boras, absolutely not.
Yeah, but he's earned much more than that based off of his play and everything else that he does for a team, and also the hustle that he has. It shouldn't be this big thing, but there is an extra level of hustle that Iglesias has compared to your to your average player. It's those ones where it looks like, there's no way this is a hit, and he's still busting it down the line, regardless of the score of the game. That's something that, even if the guy isn't playing well, particularly, to see them always play that hard as a veteran, I always find is something that really could rub off positively on the young players that you have. So, if you have Acuna here, you have Jed here, or whoever, it's just a really nice example to set. And just like we talk about that veteran leadership or whatever, JD Martinez is not going to be here next year. So who is going to be that other vet that's kind of in the clubhouse? I mean, is Alonso going to be the leader? Is it going to be Nimmo, Lindor? Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But I just think overall, I would like to keep him back, but it's getting a little crowded, so to speak, as far as how does he actually fit in? Even though he played so well, it's tough to expect that to next year and predict that that's going to happen again, that he's just be the starting second base because he can hit 300. I can't bank on that, unfortunately. So I hope there's a way they could work this out, but realistically, with what they have and what they still need, I just don't see it really happening, unfortunately.
I feel like the only way that this works out and you benefit it for the young guys and everything of bringing back a guy like Jose Iglesias, because it's going to have to be a major league contract. They are going to have to trade Jeff McNeil if they were to bring back Jose Iglesias, because he's going to be on a major league contract. You know, he's not going to start off in AAA like he did last year. I would love to bring him back. Whatever he does boost, where we have, of course, you know, the star power of Lindor and Soto and all of these guys. But again, we do need a little bit of dog in them. Like, you know, we need these guys with dog in them. Winker, Siri, you know, like these little, you know, the Baders, the Tyrone Taylor, like those guys filling in the margins. Jose Iglesias did that really well for us. So again, I don't know if I don't think he's going to repeat this production again. You know, this is a career year for him, but off the bench, I think it's a better fit here for some of the young middle infielders that you have coming through the system. I don't know. What do you think, Andrew?
Again, if Luis Angel Acuna, Ronnie Mauricio, the other little one, like, there needs to be playing time. But like you said, Jeff McNeil needs to be sent to Zimbabwe, somewhere else, to have this be a fit. Because again, like we've said, the bench is getting cluttered. And if this decrepit squirrel girl looking dude is still here, then like that's $30 million over the next 2 years, and you're going to have to play him. Then pay him off and let him go to the Chicago White Sox. Let him be the 3-hole hitter for the Chicago White Sox, be their best hitter, and go away. And pay him down, and then you can be able to, one, give the Cunha or Mauricio or whoever the opportunity, and also, again, like we said, Mauricio's probably is going to start in AAA, so it's really the Acuna thing, and easing Acuna into these everyday reps, where, yes, I think people want to just give him the job and run, you know, again, because of that small sample. Yes, it was only a few weeks, but hell, he did his great Francisco Lindor impression, where teams are like, where fans are like, well, this dude carried when Lindor got hurt and was the production. I understand that.
I think when you're talking about these young guys who have shown something, I think Vientos has earned the starting third base job. You're talking about Acuna. I think he's earned the right to compete for the second base job for next year, and I'm expecting him to win it, obviously, considering the alternative. But again, Jeff McNeil in that equation.
And like we've said throughout the show, there's just cluttering of, well, Taylor's here and Siri's here. Again, instead of, and this is what I hate what Stearns does, but again, it's the right thing to do. There's too many bodies for a number of spots. Like, you could bring in 40 guys, in which that's the right way to do it. But again, when you're trying to pencil, okay, you know, but now you got this guy's making big league money, and you can't have him. He's out of options, so now you're running into this scenario where, yes, you come in the spring, you're going to need more than 26 guys. I understand that, which is good. But to the extent of, again, we're trying to, on December 30th, we're like trying to pencil in an opening day roster, and as of right now, all the kids are down in Syracuse because you've got all these guys with big league deals. Again, there's still 3 months before the season starts. I would expect some of these guys to be gone. But again, as of right now, Iglesias, you're bringing him back, yes. And again, and this is why, again, I'm very anti, we'll just run back the core and run back everything. Because, exactly. It did that. I think, Knicks fans were, we got to bring back Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. Yeah, they're looking pretty damn good. They didn't run, they went to it, they hit a peak, and then they got better. And I'm scared. Again, we'll see what Alonso. Obviously, Juan Soto's different. I understand Juan Soto's here now, but to the point of, let's just bring this guy back, and then he's 35, and even this, like, what can you count on? He was never been this. He's never hitting the ball hard, and the dog thing is very important. Yeah, defensively, it's fine, but again, the problem it's always been is that dude making $30 million over the next 2 years. Reasons why you don't give extensions to frickin' noodles. Besides the point. Roster flexibility-wise, but again, we'll see what happens.
Here's
it's
the
fine
thing.
If he's there, if he's not.
And this is another angle to look at it, and I'm not really one to go outside of the numbers, but I am going to do it here to kind of direct this, to continue the conversation. You'll understand where I'm going with this. Jose Iglesias definitely was, a good presence for some of the young guys, whether it is for them defensively. We know that Francisco Lindor has been really good for Mark Vientos. We know that when Francisco Lindor was out, Jose Iglesias and Acuna basically, for a second there, they were kind of combining the value that he was giving with the power from Acuna and the defense from Jose Iglesias and the overall situational awareness. When it comes to Acuna, I want to see him take the job, because I feel like he's proven enough where I feel like he can take the job if he performs well in spring. The best way to get him there is a guy like Jose Iglesias. The reason why I say that is because we always talk about this with managers, right? Where it's like, oh, the best managers are like usually role players who have seen a lot of different things in this game. When it comes to Jose Iglesias, let's not forget what happened when he came, before he came here. He was ready to give up. He was ready to retire. So he's definitely seen the bottom and he's seen the top now, obviously being the Latin pop star that he is now. So again, compared to the veterans here, Jose Iglesias, he never gave up in that sense. He never gave you that type of attitude. He worked hard to get back, grinded his ass off with driveline, all of that stuff, and it turns out to pay off. Now he's a Boris client. And now he's on a market where Tommy Edman got that big extension. He has a great market now. I mean, he worked really, really hard to refurbish his career. Now let's compare that to the other veteran who is here, Jeff McNeil. What happens when things don't go Jeff McNeil's way? I throw a temper tantrum, I slam my bat, I fight teammates in the dugout, I scream into my helmet, and I think the entire world is going to explode. That's the thought of Jeff McNeil. Do you want that being the type of impression on some of the young guys? Again, I don't know if that's that big of an impression because you have Lindor here and you got all these other guys. But like in terms of middle infield, do you think McNeil can mentor a toolsy player as well as Jose Iglesias can? I'm just saying, like, he rage quits at Connect 4. I think it's a good fit. Especially with Iglesias is a bigger dog than Jeff McNeil right now. I'm sorry. Frank, what do you think about that? I'm telling you, and he's cheaper too, probably cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, he's a mentor. I mean, like we said, if there's a way that they could move on from Marte, move on from McNeil via trade, and not have to spend too much to make it happen.
Yeah,
there's a way to make the team better. But like we said, as far as seeing the takers for them, it's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have much value right now, either one of them. So, and they're just not great contracts in general to take on, based off performance, age, things like that. So I don't know. I mean, like we said, it would be a better fit, but they have to make the fit happen first.
Basically what we were saying, this would be a deeper roster. This would be a better fit. Thank you, Billy Epler. That's basically what we are saying.